All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Crew Show with a little 49er video of the Niners discovered another undrafted rookie running back gem. Well, I think they have. We'll talk about it coming up next. First, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle. Go say hi to Damon and Mary and get some brisket chili. Tell them that Larry Krueger sent you. And we're also brought to you by Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove. Call Anthony Catania at 831-521-5264. And the first Friday of every month down there, they are doing kind of like a street fair with free food and drink. You can go down there and have a lot of fun and buy and trade sports collectibles at Sharp Corners, and call Anthony Catania for more details. All right, let's talk a little bit about the 49ers. Year after year after year, it seems like they draft a running back early who then winds up being disappointing, only to be outplayed by a running back that they didn't draft at all, that they found as an undrafted free agent. And a lot of it is because of Bobby T, the man they call Bobby T, Bobby Turner, who's been a great running back coach in the NFL for years and years. He worked with Mike Shanahan and helped develop the great Terrell Davis. Obviously, he's had a great hand in what the Niners have done, whether that be developing Christian McCaffrey or finding, Elijah Mitchell in the 6th round or finding J.P. Mason as an undrafted free agent. The Niners under Bobby T have done a really good job at kind of scouring the world, the college football world, for useful running backs. And he's really good at it. And I think he did it again in this draft with Cody Schrader, a running back from the University of Missouri. If you watched him, Schrader wore number 7 at Missouri. And, he was projected to go in like the 5th or 6th round. And then just went undrafted. And the 49ers plucked him, and he's a really good running back. He was first team all SEC. So he was a first-team running back in the best conference in all of college football. He had over 1,600 yards this year, 1,627 yards, 14 touchdowns, 5.9 a carry, at Missouri this year. He's 5'8", 5'9", about 210, 215 pounds. And if you say, well, if he was so good, why didn't he get drafted? Well, he ran 4.61. So it's not a great 40 time. He had a 1.55 10-yard split, which is pretty good. That's Brock Purdy-esque. He played 2 seasons at Missouri. He was a former walk-on at Truman State, Division II Truman State in 2018. He's a St. Louis, Missouri kid, 4-time all-conference player at running back and linebacker in high school, but was not heavily recruited. He was a 0-star recruit. He was not considered to be a top recruit, so he had to walk on at Truman State, and then he transferred to Missouri. But this guy can really catch the ball. He ran the outside zone at Missouri, so he's very familiar with Shanahan's scheme. He always improves. Every single year, this guy improves. Now, he is a little bit older as a prospect. He's 24, but he's considered to be very, very coachable. He can catch the ball out of the backfield, as I said, and he can run from scrimmage. And he's a legit player. He's got contact balance, so he's really hard to knock off his pins. And you know what I mean? He's a decisive running back who plays faster than his 40 time. He's a smart player. He played, his best against the best. Played great against Ohio State. Played great against Georgia. Played great against LSU. And you look at some of those numbers that he put up, and you're like, wow, Cody Schrader. And he is legitimate. I mean, this is a legitimate, good starting caliber running back that the Niners got as an undrafted player. I mean, just to put it in perspective, against Ohio State, one of the best teams in the country, he had 29 carries for 128 yards against the Buckeyes. He rumbled for 217 yards against Arkansas. He rumbled for 205 against the Tennessee Volunteers. He averaged 8.8 yards per carry against LSU and he averaged over 5 yards a carry against the Georgia Bulldogs, who I thought were far and away the best team in college football last year, despite the fact they didn't make the playoffs. 5.1 yards per carry average against Georgia. So Cody Schrader, I mean, he's quick to the hole. He reads blocks well. He's full speed, he cuts at full speed. So, he's cutting at full speed. He's not one of these guys that kind of gathers to cut. He's gone up against top level competition and shined. He can do it all. He can block, he can catch, he can run between the tackles, he can get to the outside. He runs faster. I mean, if you watch his film, you think, oh, this guy's like 4.49, something like that. 4.61 is what he ran for the stopwatch. So he's quicker than he is fast. He lacks some long speed, but I think this is a guy who's going to make the Niners roster. Now I don't know how, because you've got Juice at fullback, and then you've got CMC, JP Mason, Elijah Mitchell at running back. They also just drafted Isaac Garendo, who runs in the 4.3s as a, I don't know what he is. Is he a running back, fullback, wide receiver? I'm not really sure. He's an offensive weapon. He's listed as a running back. And now you've added Cody Schrader. But this guy is so fun to watch, and he's so legit that there's no doubt in my mind he's an NFL back. I mean, I'm not sure exactly who he reminds me of. In some ways, he's kind of a poor man's Blake Corum, who went to the Rams over the weekend in the draft, the Michigan star, in that, he runs a little bit upright, but he runs strong between the tackles. He doesn't have burning speed, but he can get to the edges seemingly at will. He plays fast. He knows what he's doing. He will absolutely step up and block. So you might be able to use him as an undersized fullback. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. I mean, there's just a ton to like. Cody Schrader was a great player in the SEC this year. I mean, just the fact that if all I told you was that he was first team all SEC, that might be enough just to be like, oh yeah, that in that conference to play at that level. But then you look at what he did against the best teams. Couple 200-yard days, ran up and down the field against Ohio State, over 5 yards a carry against Georgia, close to 9 yards a carry against LSU. This guy did it against the creme de la creme in the SEC. So I really like him. I'm not really sure if he's a backup fullback and you want to put a few pounds on him and make him gain, from 215, put another 15 pounds on him and have him be the fullback. He would be an outstanding receiving fullback, even though he's probably be a little light as a blocker. But I like him as a running back, and just, I think he's good in short yardage. I think he's a useful guy. I think Shanahan's going to love him. The coaches are going to love him. Bobby T is going to love him. I mean, Bobby T's got a great eye for running back talent, and he just added this guy as an undrafted free agent. And I'm a little surprised the Niners were able to get him, just because, they do have Christian McCaffrey. He was one of the MVP candidates. You've got Elijah Mitchell, who's established as a guy who really is a guy that Shanahan loves. He never fumbles. He's very reliable. JP Mason doesn't seemingly have enough. There's not enough carries to go around for even Mason to get a look. And now here's Cody Schrader choosing the 49ers. But I don't know how it's all going to shake out, but all I can tell you for sure is that Cody Schrader can play. He absolutely can play. And the fact that Bobby T, who has a great eye for these late round running backs and these undrafted free agents, handpicked this kid, tells me all that I need to know. I mean, this guy can play. Bobby T knows it. I know it. Soon the fans will all see it in training camp and in the preseason. And he's going to be a hard guy to cut and get through waivers, because I think he's going to play well in the preseason. And there were probably a number of other teams around the league that wanted him as an undrafted college free agent, and the Niners were able to get it done. So credit Bobby T, credit the Niners scouting staff. They keep finding these really good running backs, and they find them late. And this guy is absolutely one of the steals of the undrafted class for sure. So watch for him this summer in camp and look for him in the preseason. He wore 7 at Missouri. I don't know if he'll still wear 7 with the 49ers, but Cody Schrader is a really sleeper, underrated running back who runs with power and production and can catch and block and do all the little things that it takes to get on the field in the NFL. And we're going to find out if he can make the Niners this summer. I think I'd give him a great chance to make the team and make an impact. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles as well for sponsoring this video. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.